one person. One person? Hit him up. This nigga genius.
We livin', we livin', we livin'. Why?
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the M&M experience. So today I'm going to do a story time about the time I quit my job. So I'm not going to say exactly where I worked, but I'll just name the place Huge, and it's a grocery store, so figure it out. But yeah, I quit my job, but before I get into the story time, I'm going to just give you a background of 3 people, and then I'll tell you the story so they can fit into the story of what happened and how things played out. Okay, so first off, I'm just going to the 3 people that's in the story. So the first person I'm going to name Tiffany. Her name is not Tiffany, but she reminds me of Tiffany Haddish, and also she is the person that helped me get the job. And prior to me actually working for the job she helped me get, we actually worked at another grocery store together before that location closed. So around the time that I was looking for a job, I was in contact with her. Even though we had already left that company previously, we were like talking and stuff, and she was telling me, hey, I got this new job, I like you here. And I was just like, hey, I'm looking for a job because I'm currently not working and I'm not sure when exactly we're going to go back to work. So she was like, yeah, I can put a good word in for you, I'm gonna let you know. So about 2 days after we had that conversation, she let me know, like, hey, what's up? Like, I spoke to them. They said fill out the application. As soon as you put it in, give this person a call and they'll bring you in for an interview. Okay, so that's the first person, Tiffany. The second person I'm going to name Suspect because I suspected her of making my drawers short, and I had to be on probation for like 5 days. But I'm going to get into that. So the first person is Tiffany. The second person is Suspect. And the third person is why, because I don't know why she thought I was the one. Like, she really tried me, like, over and over. And mind you, she was like a front-end manager of the place I work. But so the 3 people we have is Tiffany, Suspect, and why. Okay, so now that we got the 3 people out the way, now I can get into the story time. So I did the interview. I let them know that I do have another job that's currently closed, but when that job gives me the okay of us returning back to work, then that's what I will be doing. But I still want to work there, but it won't be until 4 p.m. or after. And they said that's fine, just let us know in advance when your job notifies you that you all will be returning back to work, and we'll try to accommodate you according to the schedule that you have from your other job. And so I thought they understood what I was letting them know, but I guess they didn't. But we'll get into that. So when I first started, which was my first day, that was on, I want to say the 4th of July, and it was really busy, but I was glad to be working, so I didn't mind. But the first problem that I ran into was they were having me close every day, and I'm like, why because I was told once I got the job that when you first start working and you pick like the night shift or you get whatever shift they give you, you're going to be closing every day. But it was like 3 people that got hired after me, and they were not closing at all. I was like the only one closing like the whole week. So like I let it be known, like, hey, why do I gotta keep closing every week? I don't mind closing like once or twice, but not the 5 or 6 days y'all got me working. I don't want to close every day. So they was like, okay, we just gonna rotate everybody that comes in the afternoon, so everybody will get a chance to close. So I'm like, okay. So they did it, but like they did it for like a good like a month or so, and then it was back to the BS where I was constantly closing and closing and closing. So the first problem like I ran into was with suspect. So it was a shift I had, like I just got there. I say I rung up about 10 people, and a guy comes to the line and he says he wants he asked if we do cash back. I told him, yeah, we do cash back, but it's a limit of 200. And he was like, okay, that's fine, that's all I need. I'm like, okay. So when he requested 200, I let him know, like, because I just started, I had to get a loan from the guest service desk. And he was like, okay, yeah, that's fine, take your time. So I printed out like a duplicate receipt of the cashback he was requesting, and I took it to the guest service desk and I asked him for a loan. Suspect took the receipt and went to the back to get the money. So I went back to the register. I rung up the next person, bagged their stuff. They checked out. Suspect came back, gave me the $200. When she gave me the $200 for the guy, I counted it out and gave it to the guy. I continue on with my shift, like ringing up people, you know, wiping my register and stuff down, taking the baskets back to the front doors. And then Tiffany comes in, and she worked at the guest service desk. She worked on the front end as well, but she was like, I'll say like a supervisor or whatever. But when she came in, she had to do the count for the guest service desk. And after she did the count, she came up to me and she was just like, Benz, because that's what she called me. So she was just like, Benz, yeah, what's going on? Saying your drawer short $100. What's going on? I said, my drawer short $100? What do you mean? I ain't taking no money out. What you talking about? Then it hit me like, I did give a guy $200 cash back, but I don't know why my drawer short, because I had gotten a loan, and I told her that I didn't have the money. I knew I had $200 in, but you know, nowadays people pay with cards, so I knew I didn't have. If I gave him $200, I wouldn't have no money in my drawer. So I said, suspect. I printed out a receipt, gave it to suspect. She went to the back. She gave me the $200, and I counted out. I gave it to the guy. So I don't know what she did on y'all's side, but on my side, I didn't take no money out. And she was just like, yeah, I just have to, you know, write it down. I'm not sure what they're going to do about this being the first time it's showing up your drawer short $100. But I'm just letting you know, heads up, because they might try to write you up or something. So I'm going to let you know if anything happens, and just keep you updated. So that whole day, I'm like, why is my drawer short $100? Like, that's crazy. So the shift ended. I ended up giving my drawer to Tiffany, and after she counted it again, she was like, yeah, it's still showing up short $100. It's still showing up short. So I'm like, all right. I was like, if anything happened or anything wrong, they'll just come to me. So I'll say, I think that next day I was off, but that following day, like the day I had came back, they had called me, like when I came in, they was like, oh, Mercedes, we need you to come to the office. So I went in the office, and they was just like, so we counting your drawer on this date, and it showed up your drawer was short $100. And hold on, let me back up. Okay, so before I got into the office, like when I used to come to work, like sometimes I wait in the car or I wait outside before I actually come in, just to prep myself for the BS, because like we're dealing with the customers and then also dealing with like management and stuff. So I was outside, and when I pulled up, Tiffany was out there, and she was like, oh, before you go in, I need to talk to you. So I'm like, okay, all right, what is it? So she was just like, yeah, so they not gonna fire you, but they're trying to put you on this probation where you gotta count your drawer in front of them for like a week straight, which I think is messed up, because I let them know that that suspect was the one who got the $200 out for you, but she's not getting in trouble. It's like they're not putting her in it. They're not putting her on no type of probation or anything. They're just putting you, and I don't like that. They're just doing that to you because you wasn't the one to get the money out. Suspect was the one to get you the money out. So she was like, when you go in there, just, don't say nothing. Just go in there, just count your drawer, do what you gotta do, and, leave. So I'm like, okay. So when I went in, I clocked in. They was like, oh, Mercedes, yeah, they need you in the office. So I'm already hip to what Tiffany told me that they already got planned for me. So when I went in, they was just like, yeah, we counted your drawer on this day, and it was short $100. So you have to, we already counted the drawer, but once you count, you need to count it and write down the amount that's in your drawer, so we can keep track. You have to do this for the next 5 days that you're working, so you need to count your drawer before you start in front of us, and then before you leave, whoever's the manager on duty, you need to you take your drawer out, you need to count your drawer with them, and it needs to match up with what's in the system. So I'm like, but why is my drawer short $100? And I told them what happened about the guy and how I printed out the receipt. I gave it to the suspect, and they was just like brushing it off, like, no, we're talking about you. This is what you have to do, and it needs to get done. So come on, because you gotta hurry up and you need to get outside and start your shift. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So that was like the first incident that happened that I was just like, no, I'm not here for it. I mean, I counted it every day before and after, and everything came up good, but it was just the fact that why do I gotta count the drawer and y'all not even taking action on what I'm telling you? So that was that situation. So the next problem I was having was they started messing with my schedule, because like when I started, they used to put the schedules out on Fridays. So Fridays by like 11 or 12, they used to put the schedules out. So I would take a picture of the schedule, and that's what I will always look in my phone at the picture of the schedule that I took to know, okay, what days I work, what days I go on, what days I'm off. So, and also I was in school, but I went to school on Saturdays, and I had been I've been at my job for maybe about 3 weeks or whatever. My morning job, Monday through Friday. So like I'll be at home, and it will say like on my schedule that I'm off, and they'll call me and be like, yeah, Mercedes, where are you at? You supposed to be here. I'm like, no, I'm not. My schedule says I'm off. And they're like, well, we updated the schedule since the last time we put it out, so it says you're working, you need to be here. So at first, I was going in like, okay, I'm going to come in because y'all saying I'm working. But then they really started getting on my nerves, because it kept being like a every week thing. Like, y'all keep changing. Like, once y'all put the schedule out, that's the only schedule I'm abiding by. And if you put anything else out, no, I'm not coming in. So when they started to call me like, hey, where you at? I did not answer the phone. No, I did not. Nope, I'm not coming in. And the next day I would come in, they'd be like, oh, we're going to write you up because you didn't show up. I'm like, okay, write me up. Like, I'm not coming in. Like, the schedule that you all have, that's not the schedule I have. I'm not going by no other schedule. Don't put me down for one thing and then change it for something else. No, I'm not doing that. Y'all not about to keep playing with my schedule every week. Do y'all schedule change daily like y'all want the cashiers schedules to change? So I know they got irritated with that, but I'm like, I'm not about to keep constantly every day I gotta come in, check the schedule, come in, check the schedule, come in, check the schedule. No, I'm not doing that. So I guess the manager, she was getting irritated because I wasn't, I guess, kissing her ass or listening to what she said, and then I wasn't answering her phone calls, because she would call me personally from the store phone, and then when I wouldn't answer, she had started calling me from her cell phone, like I was gonna answer because I didn't know the number, and that just made it worse because I wasn't gonna answer a number that's not saved in my phone. So I guess she got mad because of that. Okay, so now we get into when I quit my job. So the previous manager, where I was saying that she used to call me from the store phone and call me from her cell phone, that was why. So why she just kept, it's like she kept playing with me, like when it came to like my schedule, like the days I wouldn't come in, like that next week when she did my schedule, she knew I told them that because I started my other job to have me coming in either at 4 or after 4. So she would be petty and have me coming in at 2. And I'm like, why do you have me coming in at 2 if I said I can't work until 4? But she would just do petty stuff like that. And I would call and I would speak to the store manager, and I would let her know, like, I don't know why she keep putting me on a schedule for 4. I'm constantly telling her I can't work 2, and she keep playing and putting me on at 4. And the store manager like, no, you're fine, just come in at 4. I know why you won't be coming in at 2. I'll let them know. So every time she put me on a schedule to work at 4, at 2, I would come in at 4. And the why will always be like, oh, you're 2 hours late, I'm gonna write you up. And I was like, okay. But I knew that I spoke with the store manager, so I'm good. So whatever she said was just BS to me. But I knew her MO and what she was all about. That's what I mean. Like, she tried me all the time, and I guess she seemed like I didn't give a fuck. So she would just do stupid stuff to just get on my nerves. So by me coming in at 4, I believe on Thanksgiving, the store was open, but it was only going to be open until I think it was closing at 4. And my start time was at 4, so it was pointless for me to even be put on the schedule, but I was put on the schedule. So I looked at the schedule and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm not going to be working on Thanksgiving anyway because I'm off from my day job, and I'm not going to be coming in because the time I'm supposed to come in, that's what time the store closed on Thanksgiving. So I look at the schedule and it say I work Thanksgiving, and it was like a morning shift. Like, I think it was like 11 to 4 or 12 to 4. And I was looking at the schedule and I was like, is Y here? They was like, oh no, Y, she did the schedule and she left. And I'm like, okay, so I'll talk to her tomorrow. So when I came in the next day, it was like, oh no, Y is off. And I was like, well, is this somebody I can talk to? So one of the front end ladies that was there, they was just like, yeah, what's wrong? I was telling them, like, I don't know why put me on a schedule to work on Thanksgiving if that's not even my availability. Like, I'm supposed to be the earliest I can come in is at 4. The store was closing at 4. Why am I being put on the schedule to work like 11 to 4? Like, that's crazy. And I said, if she wanted me to work or would like me to work, it would have been better if she came and asked me, but she didn't. So I don't know why I'm on the schedule. So they was like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'll let her know, and I'll just tell her to next time she worked there, you want to speak to her. And I'm like, okay. So I worked my shift that day. I got off, went home. The next day, I came in. She was like, oh, I can't change the schedule. It is what it is. I'm not changing it. So I'm like, all other times you change the schedule throughout the week. Now it's a problem for you to change it because I'm telling you that I can't work that shift. So she was like, well, you're just going to have to get somebody to swap with you if you can't work it. So I was like, okay. So it was a guy that used to that worked there. I don't know if he still worked there, but he was like, he had came in, he was shopping, and I had asked him, like, are you working on Thanksgiving? He was like, no, I'm not working, but I want to work. I'm like, oh, bet. I can give you my schedule because I don't want to work on that schedule, but I'm not available to work that day either. So he's like, okay, well, yeah, you can swap with me. So I told him, I told him that he needs to, make sure that he let them know as well that we're going to swap. Well, he's going to swap with me and get my schedule because he wasn't on the schedule. So I finished my shift, and mind you, the Y had said it was okay. So the next day I come in, and the guy was like, yeah, I had let her know as well, and she's told me, she'd rather just put me on the schedule and just keep you on the schedule. So I was like, okay, so she really playing with me. Got it. Noted. So I was like, okay. So by the time I had got there and when he told me, she was already gone, so I couldn't really speak to her. So I was just like, you know what? I'm about to go over her head. So I went to by that time, the store manager that used to tell me that it was okay for me to come in at 4, she had got sent to another store. So we had got a new manager. And that's a whole nother story. But I was trying to talk to him, and he was just like brushing me off, like he ain't really want to hear it or whatever. So I'm guessing she had already spoke to him about me. Like she just put this nasty taste of me in his mouth, and he just was just looking at me like I don't really want to hear it. So I was like, okay, all right, you know what, it is what it is. So the day before Thanksgiving, I'm pissed. Like I came into work like the previous days, and I'm pissed. I'm mad. Like they keep trying me. I don't know why they keep trying me. Like it's like, what is all this extra stuff for? So the day before Thanksgiving, I came in. She was there, and the new store manager was there. So when I seen her, I went up to her. I was just like, I was supposed to be switching with what's his name, and he said that you told him that you rather put him on the schedule and keep me on the schedule. Why would you do that if you already told me that you would take me off the schedule if I switch with somebody? And she was just like, oh no, we need people. I'm like, okay, but you never asked me, and that's not my availability. And she was like, well, I can't do nothing. I can't change the schedule. So you got to speak to the store manager. I was like, he's here? She was like, yeah. So I went upstairs, and they was like, oh, he's on his break. And I'm like, well, when he come back from his break, tell him that Mercedes wants to speak to him ASAP. Like, it's very important. So they was like, okay. So he came back, and I was trying to get his attention, but it was like he was like brushing me off. And I was like, okay, you know what? He about to feel all this, cause I'm sick and tired. So we had, mind you, we had a long line. The lines was down the whole aisle. I cut my light off. I told them, I said, y'all gonna have to wait. They was there, people going, oh, why we gotta wait? Why you stop? Why? Oh, this don't make no sense. She stopping her line. She got her light. I surely did. And when I went up to him, he was just like, oh, it's so busy. Like, we can't talk right now. Like, when the lines get down, like, then we can talk. And I'm looking at him like, sir, like, the lines aren't going down. Like, they're not. But I went back to my register. I rung up a little bit more people. And guess who I see? I see him walk over, get his coat, get his keys, and he heading out the door. He is heading out the door. He ain't talk to me, nothing. Like, he just leaving. So I'm like, okay. So I cut my light off again. And the people was going on, because mind you, the lines never stopped. Like, the lines was like continuing. Like, it was like every time I looked up, it was just like, damn, where the hell are these people coming from? So I cut my light off, and then I walked over to the guest service desk, and I was just like, where is store manager going? Because he said he's supposed to be talking to me, and he leaving. Like, where is he going? And they was like, oh, he going home. He's been here since this morning. He'll be back tomorrow morning to work the full day. And I was just like, well, he told me he would talk to me, and he just leave. And I said, he walking out the door. He ain't say, Mercedes, I can't talk to you today. Can we try to talk? He didn't do none of that. I said, you know what? Somebody just clocked me out. And they was just like, oh, no, we don't want you to leave. I'm like, no, I'm sick and tired. Like, I'm trying to tell y'all something, and y'all brushing off my issue that I'm having off like it's just something minor. Like, y'all just doing too much. So they was just like, oh, well, like, what's the problem? So they had got like this other manager that was there working in the store around like the holiday time. And he came, he was just like, hey, Mercedes, like, I'm sorry that this happened to you. Like, what's going on? So I gave him the whole rundown. Like, I don't know why I'm on the schedule for working on Thanksgiving if that's not my availability. If y'all needed people, y'all should have asked. If y'all would have asked me, I would have been more open to it. I still would have said no, but it's thought if you asked and you didn't do that. So I'm not feeling the way y'all doing things, and then y'all saying y'all can't switch the schedule. But any other time, y'all switch the schedule without telling people, and y'all want us to come in. So he was just like, oh, I'm sorry that happened. Were you able to switch with somebody? I said I did, and they added the person to the schedule. So why Gonna bring her ass over there. Mind you, it's me, the manager. There was a lady from the front, and then Y just right here. So she walked over. She was just like, Mercedes, I told you what to do. If you're doing all that, just call out and just come in the next day if you can. I said, why the hell would I call out so y'all can write me up? Like, why am I calling out on the day I should be off? So she was just like, well, just do that because you can't switch with no one. Like, she just had all this attitude. So I was like, you know what? I said, all right. I said, that's it. I said, I'm not doing this no more. So the manager was like, oh, so what time did you come in? I said, I came in at 3. And he was like, what time are you off? I said, now. He said, you're really off now? I said, yeah, I'm off now. I'm leaving. Like, I'm done. He was like, no, don't leave. No. I was like, no, I'm gone. I walked over to the clock. I clocked out. I walked over to the guest service desk because I wasn't even getting my money deposited into my bank account. So I still had to get like the paper checks, which I wasn't really tripping on. But I walked over to the guest service desk and I was just like, hey, such and such, give me my check because I'm gone. And he was just like, oh, you're leaving? I said, I surely am. He was like, oh, man, damn, that's crazy. Like, you're really leaving? Don't leave. And I was just like, no. So after the guy gave me my check, I ended up leaving and I ain't never been back. Like, that was my last day. I was gone. But I had left, never came back. I had ended up calling Tiffany like later that day, and she was like, yeah, because I think she worked early that morning, so she had got off before me, but she was working as like a cashier, so she had got off, and I was just like, girl, I quit. And she was like, you ain't quit. I'm like, I quit. Like, I left. Like, I told them, like, I'm done. I'm tired of this BS. Like, they just doing too much. So she was just like, oh, damn, that's crazy. I can't believe you really gone. I'm like, believe it, because I'm gone. So I had told her, I was like, I'm not coming back either. And she was like, but you got to get your last check. And I was like, well, next time when you go back to work and you get your check, just get mine too. So she ended up getting my check. She dropped it off to me. And I was like, I'm still supposed to be getting my little payout because, mind you, like, I didn't call out like days or whatever. I called out about like 2 days, but other than that, like, I was always at work. Whatever schedule they gave me that I took a picture of them posting the original schedule, I went to work. So she was like, yeah, you got another check. So she gave me my check, and I was just like, I know they're supposed to be giving me a payout because that's the same thing that happened with my other job. The time that I had saved up, they had actually sent me a payout of my time that I had saved up. So I'm like, I need to be getting my little payout because on my last stub, it said I had X amount of hours. So I need to be getting X amount of money. So I wouldn't say I wasn't paying attention, but I was calling Tiffany and asking her, like, did they send a check out for me? And she was just like, no, I haven't seen anything with your name on it. So I'm like, okay. So I'll say in January, they had sent, March of this year, March of 2021, they had sent me a check in the mail, and it was dated March 10th. I opened up the check. The check say January the 2nd. When the company had made my check, sent it to the store. The store didn't send my check out until March the 10th. Mind you, the check was, is valid for the next 90 days. They did not send my check out until after the 90 days. And I knew it was Y or suspect that did that BS because I know they work behind the counter and they were like the ones in charge of like sending checks out for like previous employees because I seen it with my own eyes. So I had called the company's HR and I was just letting them know, like, hey, I just received the check, but I can't cash it because it's past the the date that I can cash it. Is there a way I can get another check sent to me? So I had to like give them all this information so they can see that the check that was originally given to me was not cash, and they can send me another one. So they ended up sending me a new check, thank God. But it was just like people just be so evil and conniving, and I'm pretty sure they thought like we gonna send this check to her and she ain't gonna cash it, and they didn't think that I was smart enough to call HR and get my check. And guess what? I got my check and I was able to cash it. That's the last time. The day before Thanksgiving of 2020, that was the last time I ever went back to that store. I still have not stepped foot in that store, even though I live so close. But I don't want to have nothing to do with none of those people. I still talk to Tiffany, but everybody else, like the other cashiers and other people that work, I don't mind speaking to them. But why and suspect, I would never say no words to them. I don't have any hate against them, but what they did at the end when they was trying to like stop me from getting my money, I don't have nothing to say to them. But that's my story time of when I quit my job working at huge grocery store.